Minneapolis City.
To post goals!
The People's Pitch Podcast, brought to you by Summit Brewing Company.
Hi there, friends, and likely at this point in the season, quite a few enemies. This is the People's Pitch Podcast, the official podcast of your Minneapolis City Soccer Club. I am John, and joined alongside me this week, as always, is the Bill to my Ted, Mr. Nathan Morales. Nate, what is good, my dude?
Everything is excellent, John. I had a great resting holiday weekend, or I'm well rested after the holiday weekend. A lot of yard work, man. You know, adult stuff, but a lot of beers. So I'm all good, man. How are you?
Just fueled up on the summit, huh?
Yeah. I had a good Saturday, just glued to the Twitter feed.
Like most of us.
How could they've okay, I just want to point out that Dakota has a beautiful tour bus for their team, but they can't figure out like a video feed?
Right. And like the guy who owns the team is like a tech millionaire.
Come on.
Right? Yeah, I know. It's like, I mean, throw up like a Facebook Live iPad or something. That's all you gotta do. But yeah, I mean, I'm good, man. A lot of stuff happening.
Yeah.
In on my side of the river here. But we have a short show for you this week, folks. You know, we're right in the thick of things. We say that we usually have a short show. It usually goes way longer. But this time, I think we mean it. We're going to be covering the Fusion recap of what happened last weekend in North Dakota and the Thunder preview, along with the world-famous Morales NPSL North snapshot.
Yeah.
So let's just dive right in.
Do it.
So, Fusion, with a crucial 3 points on the line on a hot-as-hell day in North Dakota, or Wisconsin, because they played in Moorhead, the Crows traveled strong both on and off the pitch. Word is there was right around 15 traveling fans that caused a ruckus all game long, and 18 players who traveled to put in a great shift individually and get a great collective win. So Dakota kind of threw everything that they had at us, and they changed up from their favored 4-5-1 formation to what looked like a 3-5-2 that featured their slightly famous or infamous striker Jay Johnson up top, who was paired with Kisan, who was the guy who was instrumental in both the tying and go-ahead goal for the Fusion in our first matchup. So they augmented things a little bit and were, you know, like us, they need to get results. So it was definitely two prize fighters kind of going toe-to-toe this past Saturday. So who played for us? We started out with Runquist in goal. We had Charlie Adams, Max Kent, Hoof, and Nick Hines in the back line with O'Brien sitting in front of them. Then we had Ba, Martin, Brown, Kidd, Stockman Willis, and Goose as our rounding out our starting 11. And then our subs were Elder, Steve, Connor Stevenson, Whitney Brown, Aaron Olson, and Sean Bernabo and Brian Lopez. But before we start with kind of the recap of the game, this was the first full feature match for the two members of the team that I just mentioned in Sean Bernabo and Brian Lopez. And seeing that we will be featuring them for the remainder of the season, why don't we tell you a little bit about them quickly?
Yeah, I'm curious.
A little curious. So Sean Bernabo is an Eden Prairie native who spent most of his adolescence and young adulthood playing for MTA with the likes of current teammates Ian Smith, Jack Mylar, and former player Duncan Whirling, and had a very impressive career at the youth level, being named to the famed ESPN 150, which is the top incoming freshman in America for the collegiate ranks.
Oh, for real?
In 2015, before beginning his college career with Belmont University in 2015, where he featured as a defender in 19 games, scoring 1 goal. And he spent 2 seasons as a Bruin before transferring to this past season to University of Missouri, Kansas City. He trained with us last season and was a late add due to prior commitments this summer. He's been in the camp for about almost 2 months now, but finally getting cleared and able to play. And then next we have Brian Lopez. He's a Bloomington native. Joins us.
That's my kind of guy.
Joins us as an ingoing senior at Marshall University, where you can now insert any movie reference jokes you have.
Nope.
where he spent this past season with the Thundering Herd, and the previous 2 seasons at Jefferson College in the junior college ranks. He's a 2-time first-team All-MCCAC selection, as well as a 2-time All-Region player. And as a sophomore with the Thundering Herd, he scored 10 goals and registered 10 assists, scoring 1 goal and 3 assists in last year's NCAA region final. So that's kind of where he hung his hat on. So Brian was previously with the Des Moines Menace, where he had some visa issues that stunted his ability to play in matches. So he actually featured for us against Des Moines Menace as his first kind of trial match when we went up there.
Yeah.
And then he was cleared by the NPSL, and then now he's able to join us after kind of a month-long trial stint with us, but fully available for match action, and now he's ready to go. Nice. So that's a little bit on your 2 newcoming Crows. So let's get into the match. First half was kind of it was that prize fighters action going toe to toe. So poised to let Fusion have the ball early, City did something that we rarely have done in previous matches, Nate. They sat back and ultimately equalized the over-the-top game that we've seen all season, and that they've played all season with their 2 talisman up top that you mentioned before in Keeson and Johnson.
Yeah.
So seeing that our game is a possession style, and that's kind of the what we hang our hat on, we were willing and at the ready to play the game of a taste of your own medicine, hitting them on the counter, and that is exactly what we did. And through this slight adjustment, we caught Dakota out of their game plan. So what we were seeing was Miles, Goose, and Will Kidd with their ears pinned back, going forward in every which way they could, past and around the Fusion defenders, who were totally
especially because they, like you said, they started off in a 3-5-2, so those defenders were,
they had their hands full right away.
They had their hands full right off the bat. Yep.
Right. So seeing that they didn't think that we would make an adjustment, and we did, it kind of played into our favor that they made that adjustment. So Nate, the boys went hunting for those 3 points early and often, and that they did. Most notably, I think that we should mention that Miles, his hold-up play was fantastic. And we attacked, and we filled in as a unit behind that long ball, which is how we created most of our chances. And in the past, we would play that long ball out of desperation, and there'd be an isolated forward up top. Yeah. That's not to say that Miles wasn't isolated from time to time, but that hold-up play that I mentioned, he was able to wait for his oncoming friends to fill in behind him. But this game, not like others, the rest of the team quickly filled in, and we got out of the back, and were able to support him or any of the other 2 attackers that had the ball. So in the 9th minute, our best chance came early with one of those patented Max Kent long balls over the top, a total dime ball to Miles, who laid it back to Will Kidd, but his effort was pushed wide. And it was the first real kind of worry for Dakota that came out of the City attack. And it was definitely a statement to Dakota that we were going to go down, we weren't going to go down without a fight. We were going to throw whatever we had at them. And at this point in the stands, the citizens were given all they needed to be hushed, as the Fusion owner came over and asked them, kind of scolded them for swearing.
Oh.
But this was not the last that we would hear of the citizens in the stands, and I'll definitely touch on that in a little bit. So after exchanging kind of half chances for most of the first half, the defense was more than up for the task for City. Where we usually talk about our midfield play, we were now talking, for once, Nate, about how effective our direct play was from our back line to our forward line.
Sweet.
Then fouls start coming into play, Nate. Shocker. We start getting chopped down, and a little bit more on that when we get to the second half. But just before the half, a great distance free kick from O'Brien saw Will Kidd once again through on net, and the keeper was kind of put in position and made a fantastic save to keep them level right before halftime, which would have been just the perfect blow for us to strike. But it was a great effort by the goalkeeper to make that save. And then right after that chance comes another close chance, a silly foul on Goose. Sets up a free kick 25 yards away for none other than Martin Brown Jr., who whipped in his patented Marty Mindbender right off the crossbar, and then that was the half.
I think, from what it sounded like on Twitter, obviously the atmosphere there was great. It was awesome to have some citizens travel all the way to Fargo, which is impressive. It was obviously a drive we weren't going to make on the 4th of July weekend, especially. But which good for them. I think that's great. But really, like, I love that we were able to change our game plan. I love that was one of my concerns through the whole season is how can we keep getting beat in the same way and not change our game plan? It seems like a little bit of a simple change. So we did that. Sounded like it was super effective. Sounded like we had him on the back heels, and that's the impression that I got on via the Twitter feed for the whole first half. I was just waiting for that goal.
Yeah, and it kind of sucked that we had to wait as long as we did for either team to score. But that's how it goes, man.
Yeah,
you can create 1,000 chances and you might only score one or none. So second half comes, and boy was it a second half. So putting it out on the line, Coach Pribble went for it and changed the formation to get more men forward at the half with the introduction of Aaron Olson for Nick Hines. And then Lopez for O'Brien. So there you start seeing...
So what does that mean? You got you're able to get, instead of O'Brien sitting back, you've got 3 midfielders that are a little more comfortable moving forward?
Correct. And then you have a defender who's maybe a little bit more experienced in both sides of attack and defend.
Yes.
And one you can really rely on, as we've seen, for years, what AO can do. Not to say that Nick Hines can't do it, but at that point, you kind of go with your bedrock a little bit. And I think that's kind of why Adam may have kept him out from the starting lineup, was his ability to kill a game out if we were able to get up a goal.
Yeah.
So in this instance, we saw him, though, kind of being that offensive-minded defender that to rely on to try to push forward. Or what we also saw is our ability to then send someone like Max forward to kind of fill in that defensive center midfield role.
Gotcha.
To play that long ball through and have a little more freedom to do that, as opposed to being solely focused on the defense. So,
and he's flexible. He can do that really well. We saw that in the VSLT game after Elder went off with the red card.
Right, and we also saw it in the U of M scrimmage.
Yep.
His ability to play that number 6 role. So more of the same for City, as the directness was the pathway to chances for us, and the game opened up big time. So it really was trading blow for blow over the top. Like, long ball over the top for them, we get it. Long ball over top for us, we create a chance. So it was kind of awesome to follow the game that way and know that we're not just kind of falling into the trap that we've fallen into before. And definitely hats off to the players and the staff for making that adjustment. So after we started kind of trading those blows, Max Kent and Hoof were just immense in their ability to stifle that attack, collect the ball, and get the attack started again for us. And then what we were able to do is get that ball and then immediately start trying to get forward, and that caused even more confusion for the back line for Fusion. Confusion for Fusion.
Nice.
As we pressed, and they were confused. There were so many chances where guys got mixed up on communication, and they almost put one in their own net.
I saw that. That had to be kind of a chaotic scene.
Yeah, it was definitely chaotic. Perfect way to describe that. So, like I said, the second half showed what we've been missing a little bit from Miles, with kind of him being a half man during his injury stint. Just a tireless work rate, and he was totally on display. He was everywhere, it seemed. Every time a ball went forward, Miles was there, looking to find it or making the run. And we're really looking to get, kind of our boys going, and our that's where the citizens come in again, and that full support mode was just totally there, and it was kind of shades of the Bavarians, Nate, with like the soccer moms on their end, not prepared for what our fans kind of threw at them. Totally after getting hushed by the owner for swearing, then being told to shut up by soccer moms, it was kind of the perfect ingredient for the citizen cocktail, to like totally turn it up to 100, which is always hilarious as long as, it's respectfully done. So then comes the 63rd minute, where Adam kind of showed another card in his hand by subbing on a fresh Whitney Brown for Will Kidd, who was, and it's hard for me to say this, gassed. Which you don't really put Will Kidd and gassed in the same
especially
sentence.
in that early in the game.
Right. But he was just making so many runs and getting forward, and he had the freedom to do it, and he did it for over an hour, and it was like always on the go. plus being on the wing, having to track back. He was just a beast up and down the wing. So after the introduction of those players, 6 minutes later saw Rundqvist kind of put forward his first massive test, which he was equal to when he was able to make a rebound save that looked like a clear goal-scoring chance, but picked up a back injury and was forced to retire after that, seeing Captain Matt Elder now come off the bench. So your unpopular goalkeeper sub due to an injury. So
yeah.
We hope that Peter recovers. It was apparently bad enough where he likely will not be able to feature this weekend. So, like I said, Matt comes on, and then also comes on is the very unpopular sub for a sub, as we see Aaron Olsen go back to the bench in favor of a more attacking-minded formation, and even more attacking-minded formation, where Sean Bernabeu was introduced to deploy City with another offensive-minded player. So pay no attention that I mentioned that he was a defender at Belmont.
Yeah.
The dude is an attacking midfielder.
So what happened? We ended up with 3 guys across the back, and then so did we match there like we went with like 3-4-3, or what happened there?
We ended up going to a 3-5-2.
Okay.
Which looked somewhat like a 4-4-2, but we all know we only had 3 guys back.
Yeah.
So we put another attacker on, really going for that decisive goal that we really needed. So after all City could do, with all the attacking-minded players that we deployed, it finally pays off as another searching ball finds Miles, who like totally unglues a guy and pulls the shorts down on the end line, and then slots a ball home right through the middle to Whitney, who then slots it in, and we're up 1-0. So we're looking at like 69th minute-ish, 70th minute. So we have about 20 minutes, which is total trap time for us, as we've seen, where we take a lead and then we end up faltering. So we go into full-on kill-the-game mode, and we saw the introductions of Steve comes on for Martin Brown, and then we see an interesting sub in Connor Stevenson coming on to Miles to help kind of stamp this one out. So with the clear directive to waste time, Dakota grew really frustrated and then started fouling the Crows time and time again, which in my opinion, Nate, is the exact opposite of what you want to do. Right? You don't
I mean, if you feel like you want to give them as few chances to set up easy opportunities at goal when they're trying to kill the game out, like doesn't that feel like it gives you the opportunity, or gave us the opportunity to be able to kind of maybe score a second or a third goal on a set piece here or there?
Right, considering that the only set piece in dangerous territory, Martin hits off the crossbar, beats the keeper but hits the crossbar, and after knowing what he can do with a dead ball, like what are you thinking? So I think they kind of came unglued a little bit, and I mean I think they were unglued from the get-go with us kind of throwing a different thing at them. So, we made the adjustments we had to make. We scored the goal, and we make additional adjustments to lock the game out, which I thought was great.
Yeah.
So I mentioned that Connor comes in, and he's known for his attacking skills, but he was absolutely crucial with his work rate late in the game and his willingness to hold up play and draw those fouls. And also to kind of check back in to put in a defensive shift, which really isn't his MO.
Yeah, that's for sure. But he's a big dude, so I mean it should be physically a little simpler for him.
Right, exactly. So it all kind of comes together, and then in the 89th minute, we see a Dakota player get booked for his second hard foul on Goose. Shocker. And City is now into stoppage time, up a man, and the adjustments made. Every player has been subbed on that we could possibly sub on, including our goalie, and we go in full-on park the bus. And everything's forward, just lumping everything out, which is good to see because we fell into that trap before against them.
Yep.
So fast forward, the 3 points are ours, but the best thing is the citizens letting off smoke and getting one last finger wagged at them by the soccer moms as the stadium took a white, pink, and black haze of smoke as the final whistle went off. And at least this time, the winning team didn't celebrate in front of the other team's bench. They let their fans do it kind of tucked away in the corner of the stands. So
that's awesome.
We pick up the points, we respectfully celebrate, and we move on, Nate.
I love it, man. I love the smoke. It's kind of hard to find a stadium where the smoke has been allowed, so it's nice to be able to pop that. It's always exciting. Gives us a little a little legitimacy for our citizens. But John, I'm going to tell you what I liked about this game the most. Besides, obviously, that we started our must-win stretch with a win, is that the team or the coach was able to make the adjustments that we needed to make. I think that was maybe a little too quietly over the last few weeks. One of my main criticisms of what's been going on with City is that whether it was Adams' reluctance or lateness to his reluctance to make any changes until later in the game, or the team's inability to make those adjustments on the fly as a team, this proved that we could do it, and that we will do it, and we'll do whatever it takes to win out and get as many points as we can out of this.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't really say it any better than that, Nate.
All right.
We did exactly what we had to do.
And that's what we're going to do, man, hopefully, right? Coming up next, of course, we're going to be back on the road this weekend, and it's another long trip across Minnesota to visit our neighbors to the far west, the Sioux Falls fake Thunder. This is a team, John, that, as you'll recall, we beat back in June by a score of 3-1, and that featured exciting goals from Will Kidd, from Goose, and from newcomer Brandon By. And at the time, this Thunder team was recovering from losing their head coach in the week leading up to the game. Might have been the day before, and it has not been an easy season ever since. It never was easy, and it won't be any easier for them. But still, this is a team that is quite perplexing as of late if you take a look at their results. So including the time that we last met, the Thunder endured a 4-game losing streak that was capped off by the now famous draw against Eris, which is basically as good as a loss as performance goes. And then they seem to have snapped out of it. They drew Med City 0-0, and then they thumped the Twin Stars in Minnetonka, I believe, 6-1. I'll have to double check on that if that was the case. Was it in Minnetonka? That sucks. So what's going on? Like, is this a resurgent Thunder that we should be worried about? And, I would say, yes and no. And I'll tell you what I'm talking about. So, yes, because we're going to be driving a good, 4+ hours to play this game. And that has rarely worked out very well for anyone. And I'm looking at the Sioux Falls schedule, and except for their opening day loss to Dakota, the Thunder are unbeaten at home, having drawn Duluth and Med City there. So all but 2 of their 13 points that they've scored on the season are from home games. This is a team that can take advantage of the best teams in our conference when they're well rested, and those teams have to drive all the way from Duluth or from Rochester or, God forbid, from Minneapolis. The Haight brothers, the Hoffman brothers, guys like Tyler Limmer, Bryce Holiday, they can all do some damage. And yet, no, we might not need to be worried about this. So those 6 goals they hung on Twin Stars, what if I told you, according to this roster, that the Twin Stars brought only 11 men to this game? According to this,
they only brought 8, I believe. And they started with 8 and 11 ended up showing up.
Oh, I mean, that's awful, right? So I'm looking at the NPSL game report. There's only 10 guys listed as starters, and there's 1 guy as a reserve, and I thought that could have been an error. But if that's the case, then that's the case, right? They brought 1 Darbaki, and it wasn't Kareem. It was one of the lesser Darbakis. They brought 1 of the Oliver brothers. There was no Chapman, no Eman, no Raheem Omar. They pretty much brought their reserves, whoever they could scrap together to play this game, and they got beat in the heat like reserves. And I think, John, you'd mentioned this earlier to me, that you'd need to field 14 guys in order for it to be a viable match anyway. So even though this game was an automatic forfeit, for some reason it was played out, and the Twin Stars took a 6-1 loss. So as long as we can travel well, John, as long as we can stick with what worked in our field trip in our trip to Fargo, we should be in pretty good shape against this team that likes to do what we do, and that's keep the ball on the ground. But this team is still trying to find itself. I don't think they've ever really had any consistency on the season. They've traveled with a lot of different guys than play at home. We've heard a couple times from different people that it feels like they reload their team for every game, and that's just because they never have the same guys that are able to make it out to Minneapolis or all the way to Duluth or all the way to Rochester. So Not a lot of consistency there. This team is still trying to find itself, and I think we could hopefully take advantage of it as we build off the momentum from our road win in Dakota. What do you expect out of this match, John?
Well, actually, you know what? I expect, before we get into that, I think one thing also to add is they had like a weird situation with their head coach stepping down. So there's like that into play as well. So maybe like some guys followed the coach, some didn't. Maybe some didn't like him. Now they're turning up again. So you kind of really never know what's going on.
Which players were allied with that coach? Which ones were feel a little weird that he's not there? Yeah.
So that's into play. You know, we know what we have to deal with on a week in and week out basis, getting our guys there. And summer's weird, and you know you always have your inability to get some guys you're counting on because there's a wedding or there's, a summer travel that's already been on the books. So, I understand how tough it can be. But what I expect from this match, again, is someone in Sioux Falls who's trying to play spoiler because we have all to play for and they don't. That they're going to come at us and we have to stick to the plan that we've set forward for the last remaining games. And that's get the ball forward as quickly as possible and create chances. Yeah. And if we stick to that, we have the ability with the players going to score goals. And barring any unforeseen issues, we should be able to come out of here with 3 points, and we should be expected to. So, I'm making the trip up and I'm staying with the family. Gonna make a little weekend of it in the beautiful city of Sioux Falls.
Nice.
And we'll see what happens, Nate.
Well, John, we need those points. Like the title of the episode says, they all count now. And in order to finish top 2, we got to expect to win out. And in order to win the league, we're going to need all the cards to fall just right. So let's go through our little NPSL North table watch. I want to point you guys in the direction of Twitter user Papa Panther. That would be DDF Baker, our own head citizen Davey Bakes. He did a pretty good job back in July or early July, a week ago, of kind of breaking down the how the standings work and kind of what our chances are at getting in and what needs to happen. But I'm going to get a little in depth here with what's going on with the rest of the season, just for the sake of this podcast. So as it stands right now, Med City remains at the top of the table after dropping 4 points last week, and Duluth is hot on their heels. So Med City right now has 25 points. Duluth has 22, and they both have 12 games played. So they're pretty much right neck and neck, with 2 games left each. One of which is a top of the table showdown this weekend. It is make or break time for everyone in the top of this table. After a victory against Eris on Wednesday night, which is last night for us right now, Dakota is in 3rd place currently with 21 points, and we stand in 4th, back and forth, with a game in hand, though, and 19 points. So we still have a game to make up. Dakota has 2 games left. We have 3. VSLT is technically below us, even though they have more points because of that game in hand that we have, and, of course, our 2 victories against them this season. So, what are the games to watch around the league this week and leading up to the end of the season? Well, of course, you can skip the Eris and Twin Stars game, but otherwise, Dakota VSLT could offer up a bit of delicious cannibalism that would bode well for us either way. But a draw would be ideal because that puts us in the position to leapfrog well ahead of both of them with a victory on Saturday. And of course, on Saturday, Duluth Med City is going to be the big game. And to have a chance at winning the league, we most likely will need a draw. A Duluth win is going to could help, but they finished the season against Sioux Falls at home. So should they beat Med City, we'd most likely be gunning for 2nd place because we lose that tiebreaker. So if Duluth and Med City draw, and then Duluth goes on to beat Sioux Falls, and we win out, we'll be up a point. We'll be up over Duluth, and that would be great. But if we end up tied, we'll have to take a backseat to them. Shit is really tight in this table, John, and the more I look at it, the more nervous I get every day. How are you feeling?
Well, I guess nervous probably would be a good way to put it. I think that a couple things. One, don't skip the Eris Twin Stars game because we have no clue who the Twin Stars are going to travel to the cross with, and Eris might actually be able to steal their first victory in a fortnight.
Yeah, I mean, if the last game says anything, it might be that the Twin Stars' best players might be kind of on vacation for the year.
Yeah, who knows? I mean,
How
weirder
nuts would
things
that
have
be?
happened. Yeah, right. Weirder things have happened, and I'm rooting for Eris. At this point, they can do nothing to us in the table. So
Might as
good
well.
luck. Good luck, Eris. Do your best. That's all we ask for.
I like
do
it.
Your
Yep.
best.
Do your best.
But out of the other remaining games, I think that Dakota VSLT game, although the Duluth and Med City game clearly is the marquee matchup for us, the Duluth Dakota VSLT game, that would be a tasty one to watch. And I hope, is it away? Is it in Dakota?
One moment. Let me double check here. They will be playing. I'm pulling it up
Insert
right now.
hold
Yeah, it's
music.
in Jim Gotta Stadium. That's in Dakota.
No, yeah. So we won't get a stream of that game. So we'll have to follow it via Spanglish on the VSLT Twitter feed. So we might not find out what's going on there. However, I think let's shift focus back to us. I think that when you look at, we're down to the death here. You look at everything in the beginning of the season, and everyone talked about what their predictions were, and you don't really know what's going to happen until you roll a ball out, as you know, because weird things happen. And
Yep.
all the bad luck we've had, all the good luck the other teams have had, all the bad play we've had, all the good play they've had, and vice versa. I'm just happy to know that if we do our job, the last game of the season against Med City is going to mean something. And it's going to mean something for both teams, regardless of kind of what shakes out here.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. That's what we all sign up for. Would we rather be the team leading the top of the heap and not having to worry about anything and just do our job and kind of ride off into the sunset with a championship T-shirt? Absolutely. But we know that's not the case. So now we have to put in the work, and I think it's great. I think it's great for our division. I think it sets us up for next year for this to be a division where more people should come out and watch it because every game means something, because this year it did. And I mean, even if you look at our 2 blowout wins against Lacrosse, those meant something when we get down to the end of it for not only us, but for other teams. Mm-hmm. So unfortunately not them, but but it means something. So, I'm excited. I'm really excited for it. And however the cards are dealt for us, we'll either be moving on or we'll be packing it up and learning about the teachable moments for us for next season.
Yeah.
All right. So that's all for today's show, folks. Thank you, as always, to our sponsor, Summit Brewing Company. They are great people who make good beer. You should drink it. End of story. For details on all things beer-related, head on over to summitbrewing.com. Become a member. $60 gets you a 2017 collector's scarf, a membership vote, and priority tickets for next year. And, of course, Nate, as always, the spiritual reward of holding soccer in your heart. If you want to come check out our final regular season home game, time is running out, people. Do not be a dummy. Seriously, don't be a dummy and miss this match. It actually means something, people.
Yeah,
come on out.
It's gonna be so exciting.
Now, July 20th, the lovable or hateable Twin Stars. $8 gets you in if you buy ahead online. Otherwise, $10 gets you in at the door. Head on over to mplscitysc.com and get that passport into the fun.
John, I'm going to interrupt you real quick and let people know that July 12th is in fact my birthday. So it will be an exciting time for Nate on the mic. I might need you to take over.
I might be on the bench for that game, so I don't know.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, we'll see how it goes then.
we can always try to make other arrangements.
Yeah, I'll be good to go.
If you follow Minneapolis City on social media, you know that we are out in the community centers and the parks helping kids of all backgrounds connect to soccer, and it's been a blast this summer to this point. Please understand, though, that to keep that fun going and help others while we do it, we need the help of you and the support of the people. If you're looking to line yourself with a fine group that loves to give back, you are in luck. Minneapolis City is a 501c3 that does good on and off the pitch, and of course, every donation is fully tax deductible. consider giving to the club that gives back. To get a hold of us, contact us, be our digital friend by sending us a note on Twitter at The People's Pitch or through email, which you never do, at mcscpodcast@gmail.com. Hopefully, I say that every week. I say that every week. However, maybe people are just flooding us and we're not getting notifications. So maybe I'll check that out after we're done recording here. All comments, questions are welcome. And finally, as always, you can hit up the club at MPLS City SC on Twitter. That is all again for this week, folks. It's time to keep those winning pants on and end this season off with a big old bang. We'll be back next week with a rundown from South Dakota and a look into the final week's matches for the season against the Twin Stars and Med City. You know them well. This is the house band. Go Get 'em Tiger with We Live with the Pines. You are the people. That is the Nate. I am the John. Continue to be you, Crows fans, and let's support our boys as the season is coming to an end. I know they will appreciate it.
You got hoofed.
And you got hoofed.
In stereo.
And you get a hoof. And you get a hoof.